Good morning, good morning, good morning, Jimmy. Welcome to the Daily Grind. How you doing out there this morning? Good, I hope. I hope you're having a great morning. Hope you have a great day. Yeah, by golly. Well, I had a request to speak about something today, so I'm going to speak about it. And that request was to speak about death. That's one of them topics when we don't like to talk about. Nobody wants to talk about it, but hey, listen, I'm telling you something. It's a part of life. The day you're born is one day closer to the day you're going to check out of here. So we might as well talk about it. I've had a little bit of experience dealing with death. Started out when I was a young teenager. My dad died. So I've lost my dad, my mom, my grandmom, a son, a granddaughter, 2 brothers, lots of friends. We have lots of friends that have lost children. So I've dealt with death a lot. I've looked it in the face. I've dealt with it, talked about it. So one of the things that I've discovered with dealing with this, and with lots of people that have dealt with it with somebody close to them, is everybody grieves a little bit differently, and it's okay. Don't be telling people to get over it and get on with it. Don't do that. Everybody has to grieve in their own time. So, the person that dies is no big deal because they go right back to where they came from. They're right back in that spiritual realm and that with God, they're healed and they're in that place of peace and love, and they're doing great. The people that are here, they got to deal with that. They miss that person. A little piece of them left, and it's difficult, and it's not always easy to deal with. It's hard. Some people have a real hard time with it. Other people seem to be able to grieve and let it go quite easily. Some don't, some do. And just let people go at their own pace. Listen, it's okay to grieve. It is absolutely okay to grieve. Don't unpack and live there, but it's okay to grieve. So I'm going to tell you a little story that was told at my mother's funeral by Reverend George Darling. He was a heck of a guy, good guy. And the bug part of the story is true. This is how bugs are. There's this pond, just like this one. These bugs live in the bottom of this pond, and they just walk around in the mud all day. That's what they do every day. They just live in the mud. That's all they ever see is the mud in the bottom of the pond. That's where they live. Then every now and then, one of the bugs will climb up this stalk, and they'll disappear. And all the other bugs assume they're dead, and they always wonder where it goes. So they made a pact one day, and they said, the next one of us that leaves, we're going to come back and tell the rest of us, where you go, so we know what's going on. So one day this bug was walking along, and all of a sudden he found himself climbing up this stalk, and he got on top of the lily pad, and the sun was out and it was warm, and he never felt or seen anything like that, and he fell asleep. And he woke up. He was a dragonfly, beautiful dragonfly, and he had these wings, and it was just natural for him to take off and fly. And he took off and he was flying around, and it was the most incredible thing he'd ever seen in his life. It was just amazing, the sounds and the colors and the smells and the sights. Never seen anything like that. It was just the most amazing, beautiful thing he ever seen. And as he was flying around, he remembered, damn, I got to go back and tell my buddies what's going on so they'll understand how beautiful it is here. And he flew down, and boom, he hit the water. And what do you think happened? Well, at that point, my brother Ralph speaks up and said, a fish ate him. Everybody cracked up, and Reverend Dowling says, not in my story. He says, very possible, but not in my story. He says, what happened was when he hit that water, he couldn't go back down there. He wasn't that bug anymore. Now he's a dragonfly, and he's not built to go under the water, so he couldn't go back down and tell him. And if he could, how could they understand something they had never seen or experienced? How can you explain colors of a flower to somebody that's never seen anything but just plain old brown mud? How could you explain flying to somebody that just walked around in the mud? How could you explain any of it to them? They wouldn't understand. And they wouldn't understand you because you looked different. You didn't look the same. You looked like a totally different creature. So he couldn't go back down and tell them, but he knew that one day they would climb up that stalk and they would have their own death, and they would find this beauty themselves. So for me, that was kind of comforting, knowing that, hey, yeah, they're in a place that I couldn't understand if they come back and told me about, but it's all good. It's all good. So, I hope that helped you out there with what you're dealing with. And I know through my own experience what's on the other side there, and it's really nice. So there's nothing to worry about. So death is a funny subject. Don't be afraid of it. Talk about it. and again, grieve, but don't unpack and live there. Hey, I hope this helped you out. I hope you have a great day. And if anybody else has got something you want to hear about, just send me a message, let me know. I'll be happy to talk about it on here. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.